Hey, this is Devin Rose with Lionheart Catholic. I want to share two recent conversations I had about what's going wrong in the church, what Catholics are experiencing and facing, and what the solution is. So I got this email from a young man who had just read my book, Lionheart Catholic. Got it somewhere, I'll find it. And he said, I'm almost through the book and must confess this is the first book of any sort that I have completed in a long time. I'm ashamed that I've been having such distractions when trying to read. This book has been very moving, especially with your family's suffering and the strength to conquer it daily. I also appreciate that you talked about how to do mental prayer or Catholic meditation. One time a priest mentioned to me that I should meditate, but I had no clue how to do it. And also, after 18 years as a Catholic, I've never once heard a homily about the process of mental prayer. So, one of the things in Lionheart Catholic that I teach is how to do mental prayer. All the saints did mental prayer. There is a basic step by step process that you go through to do it. And then I recommend that people start doing it for 5 minutes per day. That's where I started. Then I moved up to 10 minutes, then 15 minutes, and that's where I'm at now. I still have a long way to go. There's lots of Catholics much more holy and faithful than I am who are doing more than that. But the vast majority of Catholics have never been taught that the first level of prayer is vocal prayer, the second level is mental prayer, and that every saint became a saint through mental prayer. It's something we should do every single day. So why is that? Why haven't Catholics heard about this? It's not their fault, right? They have not been taught. The bishops have not taught them. Their priest has not taught them. They haven't heard it from anywhere. So had a conversation yesterday with a friend, and he was very fed up. And he said, I'm tired of hearing heretical homilies from often very poorly formed deacons and sometimes even priests. At best, they deliver a shallow homily, and at worst, it's actually something contrary to our faith. The music that we hear often at most parishes is really cringy tunes like Anthem. I won't even name all the other ones that we listen to, rather than sacred music, which is what the church says should be in the Holy Mass, sacred music, right? Not the latest pop tune, or even worse, a 30 or 40-year-old pop tune. He also said he wanted silence and craved silence for his children, especially in the liturgy. And what we typically get at most masses is there's a lot of talk and singing that's pretty much nonstop. And I don't mean the congregation's talking during Mass. I mean just the whole way it's set up. A priest is always saying something, or the lectors are, or there's a song. We have to fill every single moment with sound, with noise. He also said he wanted a community that's deep and strong. And so he had made several suggestions at his parish, and all of those ideas were rejected. He proposed that we have a men's retreat. That was rejected. What about a Latin Mass? That was rejected. What about bringing in the Catholic Troops of St. George? So that's a Catholic program for fathers and sons that's akin to scouting, and especially since Boy Scouts have been having all these problems. Well, there's a Catholic alternative. Nope, that was shot down. So parishes and Knights of Columbus councils and dioceses continue to support Boy Scouts while not supporting the Catholic Troops of St. George, which is so much better. I'm in Troops of St. George with my son. It's been awesome. We go camping, we do knot tying, exploring, all sorts of stuff. So he and I as well want our son to actually serve at Mass. We want them to be altar boys. However, I will not put my son to be an altar boy at Mass. Well, why not? Well, because there's a bunch of girls up there. Well, whoa. Are you sexist or something? No. Rather, being an altar boy, right, and being in this group, this brotherhood, right, at the altar where the priest, who's a man, is offering sacrifice on behalf of the people in persona Christi, right? It's a training ground. He can see that this is something that is masculine. This is something that's powerful. And maybe God would call him to be a priest. Up there with a bunch of girls, it's a completely different experience. And in fact, I recently went to a Spanish Mass, a Spanish-speaking Mass. Not one boy was up there at the altar. There were I don't know, 8 altar servers, all girls, especially in that Latino culture. When boys realize, oh, this is a women's thing, right? Then they're not interested in that. And as a result, in our area and in most areas I've seen in the US, the Spanish speaking vocations to the priesthood are very low. So I'd like my son to serve, but it would need to be an all boy altar server there at Mass. And the only place that I've seen that is at the traditional Latin Mass. For us, the traditional Latin Mass is a long drive away at a terrible time, difficult to get to in an unpleasant part of the city. We've made that sacrifice many times and it's worth it, but currently we're not doing that, because if he's going to be altar boy, it means actually we'll have to go and drive, make that trip multiple times per week so that he can go through the training. My friend also said, he's disappointed in the bishops of the US and all the political posts and tweets and Facebook things that they share. It's a lot of politics and social justice of one kind, but not much about the gospel and the essentials of our faith, not much teaching us about how to be a solid and good Catholic. It's more political stuff. So this is the whole reason I started Lionheart Catholic. This is what we're dealing with in the church today. There's lots of compromise, modernism, conventional secular ideas influencing the leadership and all of the laity. In Lionheart Catholic, we can renew the church by becoming saints. That's our mission. We can rediscover the deep traditions of our Catholic faith that have been timeless and that will help us to become saints. That's what we can affect. I can't affect what my bishop does. I can't control what he does. I can pray for him, so I do that. I don't worry about it. He's going to do whatever he does. The bishops in the US and in the world are going to do whatever they do. The Pope's going to do whatever he does. Why worry about it? Why get worked up? Nothing you can do about that except for pray. So pray, but then within yourself, who you can control. Denounce sin, practice mental prayer, all the different secret ingredients of the saints that I lay out in Lionheart Catholic. Where's my book? Right here. I lay it all out for you. Final recipe of the saints: rosary, mental prayer, Aquinas' virtue principles, theology of the body, fasting, the Bible, the catechism, adoration. I mean, that goes on and on. So become a saint, and that's how you renew the church. That's what Cardinal Robert Sarah says. That's what Bishop Athanasius Schneider says. And Bishop Schneider also says in his book, Christus Vincit, what's happening now is the laity are actually making programs and movements and organizations and efforts to protect and defend the Catholic faith, even when much of the episcopal and priestly hierarchy of the church has fallen down on the job. And that's what Lionheart Catholic is as well. So if that's what you're about, take the quiz. I have a link to it right here. The Lionheart Catholic quiz. Are you a Lionheart Catholic? Or maybe not there yet. See how you measure up. If you're already convinced, get my book. I'll put the link there too. Just for the cost of shipping and handling, I'll send this out to you. And I'll share my experience in discovering the recipe of the saints and how you can become a saint through it. All right, this is Devin Rose, Lionheart Catholic. God bless.